Hi, welcome to BSVP On-Site Biz, where we talk weekly about how to grow your business with marketing, sales, and financial tips, tricks, and strategies. Today, we're talking about how to build that long-term relationships with your clients, especially with the items that are usually of a higher perceived value, either a house or a car, something that needs more than just a transactional sale. So let's get into the show. Hi, Scott.
Good morning. How are you,
Morning.
Bruce?
Yeah, so I didn't actually introduce you as my guest. So here's my guest, Scott Rose. He is a real estate agent located in Lake County, Illinois. Been in business for over 18 years, and which is amazing to stay with one profession for that long.
One profession, two companies, Baird Warner for 5 years and another brand for 13 years. But it's been a very, very good ride, very interesting.
So we're talking about selling high valued items where it takes more time, it takes more relationship building than if you're just going to walk in and even buy the latest iPhone, um, or the latest I don't know, like a shovel that you need from the hardware store.
Mhm.
So what is the difference that you've discovered in growing your business?
Well, it's interesting, Bruce. I had a referral earlier this year where a person that I had known called me up and said, Scott, I have this young man. He's buying his first home. And would you take good care of him? And we went out, we looked at 4 townhomes, and he purchased one, and it went very smoothly. But that's probably the exception to the rule. Most of the times, these are relationships I've built over 18 years, either personal individuals or referrals that I've worked with and nurtured, and that's where the good business comes from. Recently, or currently, I have a listing out in Grays Lake, the old Cuneo estate, and this was referred to me by a current client. I had helped them before on their property, and they referred this property to me, and this was probably back in September of last year that I learned about it and started talking about and working with them about it. The listing didn't come live until February, so from September through February was a nurturing time, and so it listed in February. It's going to close the end of this month, and but that's probably a property. It was currently listed for $3.9 million several times over the years. We listed it for 2.75 million, and then we had some price adjustments, and then after we hit 2 million, and we got 3 offers. So it does take a little longer with the big properties, but there is somebody out there for every piece of real estate.
Yeah, so I pulled up the video. It looks really amazing. It looks like you hired a drone company with a micro drone to actually
Yes,
shoot this.
yes, and I'll give a plug to Indoor Drone Tours, who went inside the home, and they did a great job. And one of the people who came to look at it said, I looked at that video 6 times because they liked it so much. So
So let's talk about the person who actually ended up buying it. How did they come to that decision, and how was that relationship built?
well, the buyer came in through another agent, and I won't get into too many specifics, but they bought a property and outgrew it quickly. They have a business that they want to run out of this with animals, dogs, horses, and this was the perfect fit for them. It's located on 30 acres. John Cuneo Jr. was an animal activist. He had bison and antelope and deer and peacocks out here, lions, and many, many years ago. And it looks like they're going to continue uh, helping animals, and it's just a great property for that.
Well, actually, Cuneo, their property in Libertyville was similar to that. It had they usually brought out the horses and everything like that.
Well, John Cuneo Sr. Owned the property in Vernon Hills, the mansion out there where the people would have weddings and everything, and they donated the museum to Loyola, and then the other half was broken off and developed as a subdivision with Pulte Homes. So there's new construction on that, and that's up at 60 and 21 in Vernon Hills.
Yep. Well, this also the property is described as a ranch, but it looks like there's a lower level. Is that considered like a basement?
Right. It's a 5,900 square foot home. You're looking at the recreation area, which leads out to the pool, and has a greenhouse there. They were very much into flowers and horticulture, and so yeah, at one time it was quite the property. Soon to
Excellent.
be quite the property again, I'm sure.
Yeah, and so you're saying that as you were supposed to close last week, but then it's not closing for another couple weeks. Is that a real estate issue that came up with it, or is a personal buyer's preference?
Um, it was a unique financing situation that's the government got involved. It's taking a little longer for them to come around, but they should. It's the loan's already been approved, but it has to be guaranteed, and we're just waiting for notification there. So it should close by the end of the month. I'm very confident of that.
So we talked about being a real estate agent is a long game. You can't just you usually don't get someone walking in the door one day and deciding to purchase a house from you next. How do you build those relationships? Networking, social media, just living your life.
Well, many years ago when I first started in real estate, they don't necessarily give you the owner's manual, but I had a partner at one time, and they were the marketing arm. I was the networking arm, and I quickly learned that networking and people and relationships were really where it was at. And over the years, I've been a member of chambers. Currently, I'm part of the Northbrook Rotary Club, which is not a networking organization, but it does get you out into the community where you meet a lot of people. I've developed several of my own networking groups. Currently, we run a mastermind group, which people from different careers get together and kind of share ideas and accountability. So people is where it's at, and I think the name of the game today is community. And you look at some of the other people out there, Tony Robbins, for example, Grant Cardone. They all are very, very good at developing communities. And we as solopreneurs, as business people, have to develop our own communities, our own sphere of influence. And not everybody will want to be part of the community. That's fine, but there are a lot of people that do want to be part of something, and I do my best to stay in contact with them through a variety of different ways. Social media, of course, is one of the big ones. There's two pieces of the puzzle. One is the personal side, where if you look on my Facebook page, you'll see that I'm into motorcycles and classic British cars and things like that. Certainly family. And then there's the business side, which you don't want to be, selling all the time, but you want to let people know that, hey, I'm in real estate. I'm been doing it for a while, and you'll see a lot on my business page: just listed, just sold, the videos that you've seen, and what I post once a month a blog on
One of the
LinkedIn and
bedrooms.
Facebook. So there's that. The primary social media outlets I'm on: LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, and that's where I think most of my clients are.
Yep. So it looks like you do a number of postings here as well. So as far as interaction, how many people you do you usually find interact with you on your page, and how do you react back to them, or how do you contact them back?
Well, actually, it was interesting. I was doing an open house few months back, and because of COVID, people don't come out as much. And one of the people that I knew through networking came on my live Facebook stream and started asking me questions about the home. So you never know when, some people come on just to look at the home, and they're friends, so they want to help you out. But every once in a while you'll get somebody who sees. I did video tours before the pandemic, so we would do virtual open houses, walk through the property, and I've been doing that for, when the pandemic hit, I was ready for it. So I know that it's very important. People sometimes can't get out to a physical open house. They certainly can go online and take a look.
Definitely. And again, the being live offers you that opportunity to interact with them as opposed to a pre-recorded video where they can watch it. Although in some instances, if you do have a pre-recorded video, such as that the community, the property you had up in Gurnee, you can set up a phone call or a Zoom call with them
Right.
and play the video and talk to them at that point.
Right. I've become very good at Zoom. And, we just had a Zoom call the other day where I was talking to some network partners. And, I think it's the name of the game these days, not only because of the pandemic, but because it's a very efficient way of communicating. But, a lot of times face to face is the best way to do it. And that's why I think networking is important today. There's, my Rotary Club does a hybrid where there are some people on Zoom. In fact, my real estate office does the same thing. They'll have some people on Zoom or Teams, and then the other people are physically there, the ones that feel safe. Um, so, but it's it all goes back to the relationships, and building a strong community. And now, this time of the year, it's a great time to uh, kind of regroup. It's business planning time, but also it's a time, with the holidays where you're going to see people that you normally didn't see,
Mhm.
and it's a chance to go out, thank your past clients, and just to find out how people are doing. So you have your network meetings, but also you have your holiday parties. Tonight, I'll be going to a friendsgiving
Mhm.
with my real estate office, and we get together, and great group of people there at Baird Warner in Highland Park. But yeah, we love, we are a people oriented people. We don't like being secluded, and I think that's been a big challenge with the pandemic. Is when do we come out? When is it safe to come out of the borough and start interacting again?
Right. So how would you describe yourself? You said you were the face of your partnership when you first started. Would you say you're an introvert or an extrovert?
I think I'm pretty extroverted. There's the different quadrants, the disc profile,
Hmm.
there's the DISC. I'm part driver, part influencer. And I believe, especially when joining a network group, that you're not there to just warm a chair. That if you're there to warm a chair, you shouldn't be there. So I look at being as active as possible. I joined Rotary 8 years ago. I was the the director of community service for several years. I became president in 2018, and I've always been active in the Rotary Club. And same thing with network groups. Um, being the leader. Years ago when I first started, I had Team Chicago, Team Network. Team Network was a group of people in different careers that went from 2004 through I think 2008. And I also had Team Chicago, where I put together a bunch of realtors around the city that worked for the same brokerage that I did. And we got together and shared ideas and referrals that way. And so I've always, you know, I guess taking a leadership role requires you to be an extrovert. And I think my personality lends itself very well to that.
Yeah, no, like I've been the president of our video association for a couple of years, way back in I think probably think it was 2011, and I would describe myself as an introvert. I like being behind the camera as opposed to in front of the camera. I think
Hmm.
one of the reasons I started this series was to get me in front of the camera, and I think even Johnny Carson described himself as an introvert,
Yeah,
although he was a good interviewer.
yeah. There's a lot of what we call TV and movie stars that they put on their face and they come out and they act and they're very outgoing. And I think behind the scenes, a lot of them are a lot quieter, a lot more introverted. But it's sometimes they say that shy realtors have skinny kids. So
Okay, because they're not selling what they.
right, so my kids are grown and they're out there, but they're definitely not skinny.
Yeah, let's touch on your kids a little bit. We're talking before the show about today is Veterans Day. One of your kids is in service. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. My son David is a second lieutenant in the Army National Guard, and he's been very active. He went down for 3 months and helped distribute the vaccine down in Southern Illinois. And then prior to that, my father was in the Navy many, many, many years ago. So we do have some veterans to thank. I'd like to thank all the veterans out there for their service. And as the saying goes, they serve so we don't have to, and they preserve the freedoms that we enjoy today. So I wanted to thank all the veterans out there.
Definitely. Thank you as well. Yeah, because my father was also in the Navy at the end of World War II.
Hmm.
So back to sales. Um, so you're talking about shy realtors have skinny kids. Um, is being in sales, because a lot of people think of used car salesmen as sleazy salespeople. Uh, and the fact that you have a possibility of negotiating the price of a house as opposed to here is a list price, take it or leave it. It's not a shovel at the hardware store, as we mentioned earlier.
Right? It's a skill, and no, Bruce. Some people, you hear them say, "Well, I don't like to be sold," and everything. And let's be honest with each other. We're always selling. You're married for quite a few years, so at one point you sold yourself to your wife as a good partner, and then when we interview for jobs we sell ourselves as a good employee. And so we're always selling. People just don't like to call it that. In today's world, um, I was talking to a guy the other day. He was in financial services, and he said he's just starting out. And he said, I just want to meet people. I don't want to, I don't want to get in there and sell them. And let's be honest. We want these relationships because eventually, something's going to happen. Either we're going to sell them a product or service, or we're going to have them over to our house for a barbecue. But we're always selling. And I think in the new age, you know, you do have to, especially in what I do, I think you have to be a little more relational.
Mhm.
I'm not a hard sell guy. I'll go in, I want to find out about people. If I go into a listing presentation, I want to find out about, them. And the first question I ask them is, well, why are you selling and where are you moving to? Because if you don't know where you're moving to, then that complicates the whole process. So it's a fact finding mission. And just like in financial services, where you're finding out where people are coming from, what their values are, what's important to them. Same thing in real estate. Why are you moving? Do you want to be close to family? Do you want to be close to your job or shopping or whatever?
Mhm.
And when you're looking for a home, do you want a little home, a big home? Do you want a basement? Do you want a big backyard for your dog? Um, it's not just a cut and dried, let me sell you home.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's very important to have the customer or the client first in your mind, as opposed to what you're going to get out of it. We all have personal goals that we set for ourselves. How many families I would like to serve next year, how many homes. But the bottom line is I love helping people. I love, at the closing table when somebody has finally achieved their goal, their dream of real estate ownership. That's probably the most satisfying to me.
Yeah, I think we moved from a condo that we were just leasing
Hmm.
to the house, and we've been here for 35 years. I understand that's unusual in the real estate industry. My parents lived in their house for 60 years
Hmm.
or more. They built the house in 1959, and they stayed in there until they passed.
Hmm. That is interesting, because people generally do move every 7 years. Um, some people, like this gentleman I was talking to this morning, he said his wife doesn't is not thrilled with his home, so they may be looking. And generally, you s- 18 years ago when I started this business, I coined the phrase, "I'll be there for the changes in your life." And what that meant is, as people, go to college, they get out, they get their first home, I wanted to be there for them. And then when they moved out to the burbs, maybe they met somebody, had a few children. I wanted to be there for them when they needed more space. And when their kids went off to college and, it was too much room and they wanted to downsize, I wanted to be there for that. And, whether you go into a nursing home or whatever happens to you later in life, there's so many things that happen, job transfers, divorce.
Mhm.
I wanted to be there for the changes in people's lives. And I think that's really what's made me successful in this for the last 18 years.
So how do you do that? I mean, because I've made a lot of connections in my 35 years of business, and we started off doing weddings and stuff like that, and I have not contacted anybody whose wedding I did 35 years ago, who's although a couple of them have contacted me later.
Hmm.
It's like after we stopped doing weddings and started doing more corporate work, I got a couple calls. They said, "Well, you did my wedding 10 years ago, and now my brother's getting married. Can you do his wedding?" And in
Hmm.
those cases, I'll say, "Definitely, I'll be there."
Yeah.
But I found it difficulty staying in touch with every single client over the time because their email changes, their address changes, their
Mhm.
phone numbers change. How do you keep in touch with everybody or as many people as you do?
Well, one of the things I do is I send a mailing out to all my past clients. So that's one way I touch them. I also send emails. Um, in a few weeks, I'll be going around visiting some of my clients and bringing an apple pie for Thanksgiving. And sometimes when you open the door, you find out that there have been some changes. Maybe they had another child. Maybe you haven't talked to them for several years, but it opens up the door again. This past summer, I had a situation where a client, they bought and sold 3 homes with me, and she's fairly young. She's probably in her 40s. She's a school teacher, and every time she needs to make a move, she calls me up. This time, she wanted to be in a specific school district for her son, and
Okay.
we went around, and it was a very very interesting summer. We wrote 8 contracts and finally got one accepted. It was a very crazy market then. But I figure if I do a good job, I always tell people at the closing table, hopefully you've enjoyed the experience with me. And if you have, tell somebody about it. Tell family, friends, neighbors, coworkers about me. And that's basically how I build my business, is by referral. There's two ways of building your business. One is by relationship, and one is by marketing. And relationship is a lot stronger, and keeping that relationship alive. Uh, this woman called me up over the summer. She bought a house, and she needed to replace her windows. So she called me up and she said, Scott, do you have a recommendation of who I should call for window replacement? So they call me not only to buy or sell their home, but when they need the resource, doing a
Yep.
lot of networking. I come in contact with a lot of different trades and people. And I love people. I love putting people together. And, you certainly add value after the sale.
Excellent. And Jody here is saying that you're great at staying connected with those you serve.
Thanks, Jody.
And so let's talk about how to reach you, how to stay in contact with you. For those who don't know you yet, what is the best way to find you?
The easiest way is Facebook because I know everybody's on it. I'm under Scott Rose and also Scott Rose Homes. And my email address, scott.rose@bairdwarner.com. And you can text or call me at 847-921-4082. Best way to do it is to text me because I'll get back to you as quickly as I can and answer any questions you might have. And if I can help you at all with your real estate goals and dreams, give me a call. I'd love to help.
Great. And we'll put the number in the descriptions as well. And so again, once again, I think across all social networks, you are Scott Rose Homes
Scott
across
Rose.
Facebook
Right.
and Instagram.
Facebook, Instagram. I put a blog out the first of every month on LinkedIn, so you can find me there. And very occasionally, you'll find me on Twitter. Not too much, but those three: Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
And I think one of the important things is to annotate your name because Scott Rose is a common or popular name. And I think when I first Googled you, I got other Scott Roses out there.
Right. There's a photographer, Scott Rose Photography, and although I love to take pictures, that's not that's a hobby, not a job. But yes, Scott Rose Homes. I've been using that for quite a few years.
I think that's also important is to stay consistent across social networks so that people can find you if they're looking for you on one platform or another.
Right. I hope to launch more on my YouTube channel starting in 2022. Everybody tells me that video is the way to go, so look for me on YouTube as well under Scott Rose Homes.
That's what I've heard.
And you're the
YouTube.
video man, so we'll have to talk.
Yep. And actually our goal for 2021 is to reach that 1,000 subscriber count. We are only about 70 subscribers away from that as of the recording of this video. So if you're watching it in 2022, hopefully we're past the 1,000 mark. And again, you can find us at BSVP.com. Subscribe and share. And actually, we do have resources for those who want to get more involved with video, like Scott. You can go to bsvp.com/resource. There's a bunch of, or there is I think I was watching some speaker video the other day, and you don't say bunch and things, you got to be more specific. But there are quite a number of good items to look at to improve your video quality. And I'll definitely be reaching out to Scott here to help him build his equipment supply. I mean, he's got the personality, he's got the resources, but we're going to knock you up a level or two. So you will be the face of Baird Warner.
Thank
And
you.
they'll be flying you around the country as the man to follow.
There you go. Hey, Bruce, two things before we go. First of all, inventory is still very limited, and we expect a good year next year in the real estate business. But if anybody wants additional access to inventory, we have a program called ZenList, and that gives you access to off-market properties. So if somebody wants to contact me, I can help them with that. And then also we have a program called HomeBot. If you're wondering what your property's worth and how to manage your real estate wealth, send me a quick email or text, and we can get you signed up for HomeBot. And it's an automated value method looking at your real estate and what you might want to do with it in the future.
I think also it's important time to time, and I know we're not even considering selling, but once in a while we'll look up, well, so what's the property value?
Hmm.
And just to stay informed and see where you are, to see if your property is increasing or decreasing.
Hmm.
Um, and then look into neighborhoods that you're looking to buy into, and are those properties increasing or decreasing?
Right. We've got a lot of resource available to you. So if anybody has any questions at all about real estate, have them just give me a call.
Yep. We'll put your phone number in the description, and you got the email there. And this is a great interview. Okay, thank you very much. I think you are the first person to ever be on this series twice.
Thank you, Bruce. I appreciate the opportunity to share with you and your viewers, and I look forward to the third time.
Great. Thank you much. Have a great week.
Thanks. Take
Bye.
care. Bye, everyone.